Hello Elizabeth, hello Jacqueline, hello class. This is Father Greg here in Chicago. And you asked a little bit about Carmelite spirituality. I think to understand Carmelite spirituality, you start on Mount Carmel. Carmelites were founded there around 1200, but it's mostly known as the place where the prophet Elijah lived. If you look in first book of Kings, second book of Kings, there are the Elijah stories. And when you read those stories, you see Elijah living like a real human being. You see Elijah get angry. For example, the King Ahab, Queen Isabel have reintroduced the worship of the prophet Baal, pagan god. And so Elijah summons all of Israel to Mount Carmel. And then he just tells them, if the Lord is God, follow him. If Baal is God, follow him. And then they have this contest. And eventually, Elijah kills all the priests of Baal. So you see anger. Well, Ahab and Jezebel are not happy with Elijah, so they go after him. So he runs away. And so you see fear in Elijah. And then even when the Lord comes to Elijah and says, go on the mountain, I will appear to you. And Elijah instead hides in a cave. So you see fear in the stories of Elijah. And then when he's running from Ahab and Jezebel, he runs a whole day and then just lays down under a tree and says, Lord, take my life. I am no better than my ancestors. And so you kind of see sadness and even depression in the life of Elijah. That is the basis, I think, of Carmelite spirituality, because we were founded by the spring of Elijah on Mount Carmel, and we've always looked to those stories for inspiration. So Carmelite spirituality is real, based in you, based in me, based in our human nature spirituality. There's no artificialness, no kind of sweet, saccharine, kind of holier than thou, or what used to be called plaster saints. A saint on an altar is just made out of plaster, not a real person. When you read the Carmelite saints, they're dealing with themselves, because it's in yourself that you really find who you are. We can run from all this stuff. We can deny all this stuff. Oh, I'm not angry when you're doing all this passive-aggressive stuff. Or I'm not afraid when you're really cowering in fear. We hide behind our masks, our armors, our defenses, all this stuff. But when we really look at ourselves, and you understand yourself, and then bring that real self, filled with anger maybe, or depression, sadness, fear, but the real you, and bring that into relationship with God, then it's really profound. Yes, God will have a relationship with a mannequin. And oftentimes that's all we are until we really start to understand ourselves. But God really wants a relationship with a man or a woman. I think that's what the essence of Carmelite spirituality is. That motion from mannequin to man or woman. The real you. Bring that into relationship with God. That is profound. And you see that in all the Carmelite writers. Therese of Lisieux, oftentimes called the greatest saint of modern times, wrote one book, Story of a Soul. It's an autobiography. Teresa of Avila, one of the greatest spiritual writers of all times, wrote 4 books. All 4 are autobiographies. And John of the Cross wrote 4 powerful poems and then commentaries on those. Those are all autobiographies. Because that's where Carmelite spirituality draws one. To look into oneself, into one's autobiography, as it were, to understand. Titus Brandsma, a 20th century Carmelite saint, says, in a large extent, Carmelites are wrapped up in themselves, for it is in themselves that they know they will find God. Hopefully this little video gave you a little indication of what Carmelite spirituality is. Oh, I could talk for hours, for days on this. But take care, class. Take care, Jacqueline. Take care, Elizabeth. God bless. Yours in Carmel, Father Greg.